The bullet starting with in 6 years reads, in 6 years of working large demonstration events from the intelligence point of view, the writer has never seen such widespread community action. Did you understand the intelligence directorate to be saying that the level of mobilization and support for this protest across Canada was unprecedented?
So part of the context to this, and knowing the writer and knowing the people involved, is part of the challenge is the topic of mandates, the restrictions, vaccinations is an extremely divisive topic. I've seen it in my own family, and that you see that those challenges arise and it becomes a polarizing topic of discussion. So yes, it does have the potential to create language and debate amongst people who are normally cooperative.
We see there's a comment by Drummond, Superintendent Drummond, do we still have room left on Wellington? And then we see that you say, I think there is, but we'll check cameras and assess. Do you remember making a statement that you thought there was still room on Wellington Street at this meeting?
Yeah, I remember there was numerous times where we were asked about what the status was, and I would have provided an update of wherever we had over the camera. So if I said there's notes in there and say that there was room, then there was room, but these aren't my notes. So
okay, and if we could just scroll down to page 22 to the bottom of the page. So we see this as a statement by you, gaps on Wellington, and then you list 4 intersections. Do you recognize this passage as you providing an update that you had checked and there was still space on Wellington to relocate vehicles to?
Yes, that would seem logical.
Okay.
Inspector Lucas, are you aware of an issue with protest organizers claiming that the police supported or backed the Freedom Convoy?
I know that there was messaging going out, and what happens is things start because they get taken out of context. So when one of the pillars of policing response to events that have the potential to be volatile, whether they're a regular call for service in 911 or going to a protest, is about de-escalating. You want to bring it, if people are running at a 9 or a 10 emotionally, you need to bring it down a level. So if that means being friendly with them and having a chat with them and taking a picture with them so that people are getting more relaxed and it doesn't turn into a confrontation, that's what traditionally we have encouraged our officers to do. But then what happens is it gets twisted and gets shared as I said, disinformation or misinformation.
And so if we just look at this document, the third email in the chain is an email from you, and under the 4th bullet that begins, it's difficult for everyone to differentiate fact from fiction.
There's my example, yes.
Yes. And then at the end of that paragraph, there's a reference to social media posts and receiving some direct messages from protesters, from members of the public, and it continues there. So is the issue here that there was social media messaging online that the police were not only supporting the right to protest here, but were actually backing the protesters?
They have a right to protest. We are not supporting any cause. And part of it, if you go back to our operational plan, it tells them you can't wear symbols. We tell them they cannot overtly support or not support an event. They're there to be neutral.
But the issue here that you're identifying is that there's confusion that the police are in fact supporting the protesters.
Because they were allowing selfies to be taken with protesters, correct.
So would you characterize that as an instance of misinformation on social media?
Correct.
My name is Stephen Aylward. I'm one of the lawyers for the Government of Canada. In your witness statement, you noted that there was an issue with misinformation and disinformation and its impact on the policing of the Freedom Convoy. Could I just ask you to expand on that?
Yes, and there's a couple of really good examples. So I've learned a lot, and the power of social media has evolved, and it continues to evolve. And when we look at when somebody sends out, I'll call we try to put out information from legitimate sources, and you try to make sure that they're verified. So we always refer people back to our website to look for true information. Misinformation comes when people are sending out unintentionally wrong information, and then it gets shared, and then you're trying to put that genie back in the bottle. And then the other issue was the disinformation, where people are knowingly putting out false information, and which is drawing on resources or creating a different narrative that you're trying to deal with. So, like for example, the wooden fence that's up protecting the construction site on Parliament Hill was being shared repeatedly over and over again, saying they're fortifying Parliament Hill in advance of the arrival of the convoys, and it was inflaming people. But you're trying to get the information out through your PLTs. It's there. It's construction. There's a big pit on the other side. We don't want people to get hurt, and that was a big challenge to try and stay ahead of.